Hey guys, this is your host Eric. Today we are going to watch action genre movie Khalid Rocky Balboa. Spoilers ahead, turn on your subtitle. I greatly appreciate your support. Enjoy the video. The film begins with Rocky, a depressed man who used to be one of the best boxers of his time but has since retired. As a widower, he leads a quiet life. His wife, Adrian, died of cancer 4 years ago, and his son does not live with him due to his job. He now owns a small but successful Italian restaurant named Adrian, where he entertains customers with stories from his life. However, the man is broken inside, and he constantly misses and mourns his beloved wife. He is constantly battling personal demons related to his grief over Adrian's death and his deteriorating relationship with his son Robert, now working as a corporate employee. Paulie, Rocky's best friend and brother-in-law, is the only one who hasn't abandoned him. He is the only man who appears to care about him, as he continues to support him whenever possible. He is also troubled by guilt over his past mistreatment of his late sister and accuses Rocky of living in. He keeps telling his best friend that he needs to get out of his past or it will eat him from the inside. The scene changes and we are taken to a boxing ring where a boxer named Dixon comes out victorious in this bout, and the spectators cheer on as he knocks out his opponent. And we learn that this man has never been defeated. Then we see that it is morning time. Rocky gets up, works out, and goes to his wife's graveyard. He communicates with his wife and tells her about his life. Paulie appears as he is talking to his wife's grave and continues to lecture him, telling him that he must forget his past and move on with his life. He then expresses his desire to see his son to Paulie. He wishes to dine with him tonight. So Rocky goes to his son's office and sees his son being scolded and insulted by the boss because he is not very good at his job. Rocky observes the entire scenario while waiting for his boss to leave. When he finally gets to speak with his son, he invites him to dinner, but Robert starts making excuses and tells him that he is unsure if he will be able to attend. Rocky now realizes he will not be able to attend. And in the meantime, Robert's boss approaches him and asks if he is not going to introduce him to his father. He then asks him to pose with Rocky because he still has fans. Robert takes their picture, but he is upset because he has no value in this world. Nobody knows him as he is. Everyone knows him as the great boxer's son, Rocky. Rocky then says goodbye to Robert and exits. And as he does so, a large crowd gathers around him to take pictures with him. This is something that Robert desires. He, too, wishes to establish a name and an identity for himself. Rocky goes to the fish market, then does some shopping before returning to his restaurant. Adrian Restaurant is the name of the restaurant. He greets the manager, who informs him that the Spider has returned. Spider used to be a fighter as well, but now he works at Rocky's restaurant and is very clumsy, which Rocky always ignores. Rocky is well known. People enjoy coming to his restaurant and listening to his music. While Rocky is speaking with a customer, the restaurant manager receives a call from Robert, who informs her that he will be unable to attend the dinner with his father. Rocky is informed that Robert will not be arriving, and he becomes extremely upset after closing the restaurant that night. He tells Paulie all of his and his wife's stories and visits places where he used to go with his wife. Paul begins to lecture again, but this time his tone is a little firmer as he continues to tell him that holding on to the past has been eating him inside and he needs to move on. Rocky eventually decides to go to a bar that evening. He begins talking to the bartender, Marie, and she expresses her gratitude to him. Rocky is perplexed because he has never met the girl. She then tells him she was once a troublesome young lady. Rocky had escorted her home 30 years before. This is the same Marie from the beginning. This is when we notice some newcomers in the bar. They learn that Rocky has a lot of money on him, and one of the girls approaches him and asks for a drink. But Rocky says no. Those people treat them badly, but Rocky ignores them and offers to accompany Marie home if she wants. When Rocky and Marie leave the bar, the same people greet them and begin to call Marie derogatory names, implying that she is a slut because she is going home with Rocky. Rocky has had his fill. Marie tries to stop him, but he gets out of the car and proceeds to teach them a lesson, which impresses them. Marie is now a single mother of a teen son named Stevenson and nicknamed Steps, who was born out of wedlock. He meets her son, and she informs him that he is unemployed. Rocky hands her his business card and invites her son to his restaurant, where he has a job for him. He also invites Marie to visit. The scene shifts to Dixon, who is speaking with his coach. He appears upset because he believes that, despite his undefeated record, people do not like or respect him, but he does receive the protocol and respect he deserves. He is frequently mocked for never having faced a true contender. This is precisely what his coach informs him. He adds that people do not respect him because they still regard him as an ordinary fighter despite the fact that he has never fought a legitimate fighter. This causes friction with the public and his promoters, encouraging him to return to his roots, the small gym where he first trained, and his old trainer, Sagely, who tells him that he will inevitably regain his respect through a true opponent who will put him to the test. The next morning when Rocky arrives at his restaurant and is informed by his manager that someone has come to see him, Rocky goes out to check on her and finds Marie waiting for him, delighted to see her. We then notice Robert standing nearby. On television, we see ESPN show a computer simulation of a fight between Rocky in his prime and Mason, similar to a modern-day version of the super fight, with Balboa winning by a disputed KO, riling the champion even more. On the other hand, Rocky returns to Marie's house and offers that if she wants, she can work as a manager at his restaurant because his current manager is pregnant and will be leaving soon. Marie initially refuses to take the job, but eventually accepts it. She is now employed at Rocky's restaurant. When Rocky is at his restaurant one day, Paulie approaches him and shows him his fight. This computerized fight has become the talk of the town, and even sports experts have begun to weigh in. One of the men now claims that Rocky, even in his prime, could never have beaten Dixon. Dixon is no match for him. He claims Rocky is nothing more than an overrated fighter who now owns a small restaurant where he only tells people his story. However, some people still say they enjoy watching Rocky fight and wish they could see it again. Rocky becomes both upset and motivated when he hears this. He now resolves to demonstrate to the world that he is not overrated. That night, he goes to see Robert and expresses his desire to resume fighting. He tells him he doesn't want to do anything major. For the time being, he only wants to fight in small clubs. However, Robert advises him that it is not a good idea because he should not be doing such things at this time. He then runs into Paulie and tells him that he wants to box again because he needs a purpose in his life. Paulie encourages him, and he decides to don gloves once more. When he successfully renews his boxing license, his intention becomes public. Dixon's promoters propose holding a charity exhibition at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas to help Dixon out. Both men reluctantly agree to the match, sparking a media frenzy that pokes fun at Rocky's age and Dixon's credibility. Later, Robert tries to talk Rocky out of fighting, blaming his own personal failings on his father's celebrity. But Rocky rebukes him with some profound advice. It's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, and blaming others will not help. The next day, father and son reconcile over Adrian's grave. Robert has resigned from his job to be by Rocky's side. Rocky immediately begins training with Apollo Creeds and later with his old trainer, Duke, who quickly realizes that Rocky can only compete by increasing his strength and punching power to the greatest extent possible. His coach informs him that he knows everything there is to know about fighting, so there will be no sense going down that same old road again. You'll need speed to beat this guy. No, you don't. And your knees can't take it any longer, so hard running is out. And you have arthritis in your neck and calcium deposits on the majority of your joints. Sparring is therefore prohibited, so we'll be relying on good old blunt force trauma, horsepower, heavy-duty cast iron pile-driving punches that have to hurt a lot. Every time you hit him with a shot, his ancestors will be jolted. He must have tried kissing the express train. Dixon easily wins the first round before injuring his left hand on Rocky's hip. Rocky then makes a spectacular comeback, knocking Mason down and surprising the audience with his strength and chin. Despite his age, the two combatants severely beat each other throughout the entire 10 rounds, ending with both men still standing. Though Rocky receives the final punch, while the audience applauds the two fighters, Rocky thanks and appreciates Dixon for the match and tells him that he is a great champion. As Rocky exits the ring with his family and friends, the outcome is announced. Dixon wins by a close split decision, but Rocky doesn't seem to mind and receives a standing ovation from the crowd. Rocky returns home and pays another visit to Adrian's grave. As he says, he thanks her for her assistance. We really appreciate you watching. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the notification bell because it is really important for us. Thank you.